This is Embrace Your Inner Boldness, a podcast about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. I'm Melissa Henning Frank, coach, guide, and founder of Becoming Bold. I help you strip away the conditioning, reclaim your voice, and rise into the power that's always been yours. Let's get right to it. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you lead a team, or actually, even if you're just trying to lead yourself through this wild world right now, this one is for you. I've been getting a lot of the same questions from leaders lately. It doesn't matter if it's HR, manufacturing, small business, everybody is feeling the pressure to stay strong, stay motivated, and somehow keep everybody else inspired too. So today, I want to answer some of the real questions that leaders are asking right now, the stuff that's keeping them up at night or making them question if they're doing enough. And my hope is that by the end of this episode, you'll feel a little lighter, a little more grounded, and a lot more bold about how you lead. So, question number 1, how do I keep my team motivated when everyone's burned out, including me? And this one hits really hard. It pops up every single week. A lot of leaders are trying to pour from an empty cup, and they're showing up, they're smiling, they're running meetings, checking those boxes, and then they're collapsing when they get home. You can't motivate someone who's burnt out, but you can model alignment. So if you're exhausted and forcing your way through, you need to understand that your team feels that. But when you pause and say, hey, let's focus on what actually matters this week, you're teaching them something powerful, and that is that rest, focus, and clarity are part of success, and they're not signs of weakness. You're human. They know you're human, so don't be afraid to show a little humanity. Try doing a quick life audit. What's giving you energy right now, and what's draining it? And then ask your team to do the same. Look for ways to do more of what's giving you energy and look for ways to re-energize when you're feeling drained. You'd be really surprised how much shifts when everyone feels permission to be human again. Question 2, what do I do when two strong personalities keep clashing? And this one is truly the eternal workplace personality conflict. You've probably seen it. You've got one person who's super direct and another who's much more reserved. And they both think that the other one is being difficult. But really, they just speak two different personality languages. And that's where tools like the MBTI are pure magic. Once you understand that someone's not trying to annoy you, they're just processing differently, it changes everything. When leaders come to me about conflict, I always say, don't be the referee, be the translator. Help them ask what else could be going on. Help them to see what might be happening underneath. Most conflict isn't about what happened, it's about how it was interpreted, and seeking to understand the other person's point of view is the way out. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. Interpersonal relationships and the Myers-Briggs type indicator. Some teams even take advantage of the MBTI app that allows you to compare and contrast your personality with others, which gives you on-the-spot pointers on what you can say and what you can do to improve your communication, your conflict management, and overall build relationships with the people around you. It's a gold mine and it's so convenient, and it has helped conflict situations more times than I can even count. Question 3, how do I rebuild trust after big changes or turnover? And this one is so tough. Whether you've had layoffs, new leadership, or a messy transition, trust really takes a hit every single time. So here's the thing. As a leader, you're trained to keep everything super confidential, so you don't say anything because you're not sure where that line is. And then your silence breeds assumptions from your team. When people don't know what's happening, they fill in the blanks. And usually they're filling the blanks in with worst case stories. So start small. There are ways that you can navigate this without breaching confidentiality. And it doesn't have to be so intimidating. It really doesn't. Acknowledge what's real. Say, I know things have been rocky. Here's where we are. Here's what we're doing to move forward. People don't need perfect answers. They need honesty and consistency. If you don't have answers, be honest. Tell them that you don't know, but that you'll share as much as you can when you do know more. And in these tough situations, trust is going to need to be rebuilt. It's not going to be rebuilt through one big moment. It's rebuilt through a series of small, believable ones, and it takes time. More time than people typically have the patience for. But you, as the leader, have an opportunity to take it one step at a time and walk with your team, not necessarily in front of them as the dust settles. Question 4. How do I stay neutral when the world feels so divided? This is one that I didn't hear much before 2020, and now it's constant. People are bringing their beliefs, their stress, and the news right into the workplace. And you know what? It makes sense. We're all human, and we don't leave our politics at the employee entrance. But as leaders, neutrality doesn't mean ignoring the hard stuff. It means leading from humanity, not headlines. So if someone says something that stings or feels off, instead of shutting it down, try saying, "Hey, can you tell me more about what makes you feel that way?" That single question can shift an entire culture. When people feel seen as humans, not categories, everything changes. Culture really does shift when you see the human behind the behavior and people feel safe, seen, and supported. On the flip side, if someone is being disrespectful and saying inappropriate or flat out terrible things, they need to know that they don't get a free pass to be an ass. Even if it's a super sensitive topic, they need to be held accountable for their behavior. Question 5. I was promoted within my own team. How do I step into leadership without losing respect or friendship? And this is a really tender one. You go from being someone's lunch buddy to suddenly being their boss. If you've experienced this, you know how awkward it is at first, and that's okay. You don't have to swing from friend to robotic leader. You just need clear boundaries and honest communication. You can say something like, "Hey, I value our friendship, and I also want to make sure I'm showing up as a fair leader for everyone. If anything feels weird, can we agree to talk about it directly?" That's bold and it's real. Authority and authenticity can coexist, but you have to be the one to choose both on purpose. Question 6. How do I lead a team that spans 4 generations? It's like having 4 different playlists running at once, right? You've got boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, and everyone's got different work rhythms, different communication styles, different values. But instead of seeing that as chaos, try to see it as contrast and opportunity. Ask questions like, what does respect look like to you? And how do you like to receive feedback? The answers are going to vary, but it's the asking that creates the bridge. What's funny is half of the frustration between the generations is just assumptions. Curiosity cures that. This isn't a new problem. Generations have always complained about each other. This is a little bit different though because older workers are staying and working longer than they were before, and technology has become much faster and more consuming than it ever has. So it's similar issues but different problems, and it's a constant learning opportunity for all of the generations, and seeking to understand each other has become a critical need. So choose curiosity, choose questions. Choose connection. Question 7. How do I hold people accountable without feeling like the bad guy? This one is always coming up. So first off, if you even care about not being the bad guy, you're probably one of the good ones. Accountability isn't catching people doing things wrong. It's about caring enough to make sure that they can succeed. Avoiding those hard conversations doesn't do anyone any favors ever. I can't count how many times a leader has come to me ready to fire someone because they're sick of an employee's performance, and then when we start talking about how they've been handling it, they haven't. They haven't handled it at all. Usually it's a difficult employee that no one really knows how to maneuver around, so they just don't. And the rest of the team just has to suck it up and deal with them. until something big happens, and then everyone wants to jump to termination even though there's nothing in the employee's file, not even a mediocre performance review to justify the termination. So regular conversations and regular one-on-ones are the way to ensure that issues are managed, not ignored. The bold bridge version of this is moving from avoidance to alignment. And I'm not saying you have to be harsh about things. I'm saying you have to be honest. Try this phrasing. I care about your success and I want to make sure we're aligned. So here's what I'm noticing. What do you need to move this forward? Do you see how that shifts the energy? Accountability then becomes collaboration between you and that employee. Question 8. How do I lead with confidence when I'm quietly afraid of what's next? And this one is so personal for so many leaders. When they do ask this question, you know that they're at a point where they just don't know what else to do. We might be afraid to admit this, but everyone's winging it a little bit right now. Bold leadership isn't about never being afraid. It's about choosing courage before confidence. Confidence is the byproduct of courageous action. So when you feel that fear creeping in, pause and ask yourself, what would boldness look like here? Maybe it's making this decision that you've been avoiding. Maybe it's having that hard conversation. Maybe it's resting instead of forcing. Either way, boldness is a choice, and you can make that choice every single day. Ask for help. Look for a mentor or a coach who can help you navigate your responsibilities with more confidence. So to every leader listening, the questions you're asking are the right ones. They're signs of awareness, and your desire to do better is what all leaders should be aspiring to. Leadership isn't easy by any means. You're human. Your people are human, and leadership at its core is about seeing and honoring that humanity even when things are messy. So take a breath, do your own life audit, and remember this. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep showing up with bold honesty and a willingness to learn, because that right there is what bold leadership looks like in 2025 and beyond. If you loved this conversation, subscribe to the Becoming Bold Blueprint. It's my free weekly email packed with resources, reflection prompts, and leadership tools that you can actually use with your team. You'll have access to a private web page that's password protected, and it's just for people who subscribe to the weekly email. And if you want to go deeper, share this episode with another leader who might need it. Let's normalize talking about the hard stuff, because that's how we grow together. And until next time, please be kind to your mind. That's it for today's episode of Embrace Your Inner Boldness. If this stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Screenshot this episode, tag me at Becoming Bold LLC, and share it with someone else who's ready to rise. And hey, if you haven't already, take a second to subscribe, rate, and review the show. That's how we spread the boldness and keep this movement growing. Whatever came up for you today, feel the fear and do it anyway. You don't need to wait for perfect timing or permission. You are powerful. You are ready. And remember, the only limit to your boldness is the one you set for yourself. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep becoming you.